Hello, everyone. How are you? Welcome to the live stream. Welcome to the replay. Good morning, good afternoon, good day, whatever time or day it is when you're watching. My name is Linda Ivelis, and I am a coach. I work with women entrepreneurs, and there's so many things that my clients end up doing, but I'll just say that I take women entrepreneurs and I take them from being strong and working really hard to becoming powerful and owning an identity that uh, creates money effortlessly for them without worrying about I have to sell an offer or my I help statement. And if you've been watching me uh, for any amount of time, you'll even see how I've changed the way that I introduce myself in these interviews and these live streams because my I help statement is not what I want to lead with. I want to lead with who my clients become after they work with me. So today I am being joined by Cassandra Dorch. Cassandra is my wonderful client. She and her husband own a gym called Beast Body Fitness, and they are the epitome. Like both of their bodies are like, they are the result of what they teach. They're not like the chunky Zumba instructor or the or I'm gonna let her say later, but they actually went to an event where personal trainers, it was a personal trainer conference for 3 days, and they were like, how is this person making hundreds of thousands of dollars and they're not even in shape? Not forget about being a personal trainer, you're not even in shape. So anyway, Cassandra and her husband are products of what they do for a living. And also Cassandra and her husband coach uh couples. They have Cassandra and her husband have the most amazing like relationship and marriage, and it's evident, it's palpable when you see them communicate with each other. Like it's not fake and it's so much love. And they've been married a long time, so she'll talk about that too. And she also coaches women in business, so they're very busy. And Cassandra, welcome.
Thank you.
um, everybody
Thank you
wants
so
to
much
always
for
know.
having me on.
Thanks so much for being here. Everybody always wants to know, like, well, how much money did they make, right? Because I've always led with my clients come to me when they make more money and they're already in business. So we're just gonna put it out there. You and your husband have made $25,000 since the beginning of the year, and normally you guys do about 6.5 figures, right, per year. So doing 25K in 3 months is pretty awesome.
Yes.
Also, it's pretty awesome that making money coaching has very little, if zero, overhead. So the money that you make coaching is totally different than the money that you make from a gym.
Yes.
So super impactful, like seeing that amount of money, boom, hit your bank account at once. I know that feels, I know you never felt that.
Correct.
Also, you never experienced that. Also, you used to do challenges at the gym, and you just recently ran one. I mean, you guys always do challenges at your gym, fitness challenges, and you'd never done one that made how much?
Over 3,500.
And so let's get all the money stuff out of the way. And because everybody wants to know that. So let's just put the money aside now. Okay, guys, you know about the money. But how did you end up making that money?
So, this it's so many things, right?
I know, just pick one. We're just gonna have a conversation.
So really it started after like our first call and like
After
you
our first call.
and like from there things just like started hitting and making sense. And we have been in our close bubble in our gym, like pouring into the people and just being within our four walls. And so learning with you how to get outside of our four walls, that's where we started realizing, oh, that's where the money actually is. Like you're not trading so much time. And yes.
No. I was gonna say, what does getting outside of your four walls look like to you guys?
Uh, being more on social media,
You're
um,
like, I knew you were gonna ask me that.
being more out there and being more transparent on social media, talking more versus just like, oh, here's a photo, here's one little saying. Um, being more intentional with the people that I'm even meeting in person. So literally being outside of our four walls, our house and our gym are together. Like we walk between the two and we're literally within four walls all the time. And so we got into that comfort, and getting outside of it looked more like having the conversations with people in our inboxes on through social, or being out at a party and actually having the intent to go in with a deeper conversation than just the hi, how are you? Good, like the small talk. So I've learned that the small talk isn't really, we like to go deep. And so knowing that it's okay to go deep has gotten us more outside of our four walls.
I love that. I love that. So, would you say that that would be the biggest result? That would be the biggest contributor of your money results?
The biggest contributor would have to be, it would have to be me taking on the responsibilities and my of my actions. So when we first met, I was in a cycle I did not know I was in. I have learned that there's a difference between being strong and being powerful. And I was being strong. I was in survival mode. I was making decisions because I had to, not because I was like, oh, let me actually think this through and see what's the best. I'm like, no, I just have to make a decision now. And I was in this cycle of, oh, well, whatever happens, happens, or whatever goes, goes, versus being more intent. And so having the deep conversations with you made me take on more responsibility of my actions. Um, and I would have to say that's probably been the biggest part, because it has helped me evolve emotionally. It has helped me evolve in trusting my thought processes and my gut. It has allowed me to be okay with making decisions versus blaming it on decision fatigue. So I would have to say that. I would have to say that the biggest part has been taking on the the responsibility and breaking those cycles.
Radical ownership,
Yes. Yeah.
right? So, that's insane and intense at the same time. Sometimes I used to go back and listen to my voice clips that I send my clients, and I stopped a long time ago because when I would listen to my own voice clips, I'd be like, whoa, that was like a sword. You literally went, you literally went, and I was like, even I thought, whoa, that was intense. Like, that was, whoa. And if I felt that way, I know I can imagine how my clients feel, because I'm going to be honest here. Um, I've never had a coach like me.
Mm.
I've never had a coach that coaches like me. And that's fine. I didn't know that I needed one. But even in some of the coaching spaces that I am now at this level, I see that the leader is, sometimes I feel like the leader should hire me for their next identity evolution. And that's a wonderful realization that I'm having now. So, with all that said, you said taking radical ownership. How did how did that feel? Because I know the things that I've said in voice clips to you. I know we've had phone calls that go over an hour. How did that feel? Because two-part question. I know that there was no way that you could have imagined that that was what coaching with Linda would be like.
Yeah. You're absolutely right.
Like you
I
thought, I'm going to get business coaching.
Yeah. So I thought, because I've signed up for different things here and there with different coaches or programs. And I mean, I've mentioned this to you before, but they would always say, oh, it's a mindset thing. It's a mindset thing. You just have to fix your mindset. I'm like, what the F are you talking about? Like, I will do what you tell me to do. I will work. I will do all of the things. Like, I'm not going to just sit here and quit. But the difference was when you came in with the voice clips or the phone calls, it was very like, listen, this, what, like you just like opened up my eyes to things. Like I didn't know I was in these cycles. I didn't know I was doing certain things from like childhood or past relationships with staff or, all of these things that were just coming up. And I'm like, wow, like this is what coaching is. I've never had a coaching actually break down the mindset of blockage. And I think that was a huge difference when I started coaching with you because I'm like, this is how the blocks are now removed versus most people just saying, oh, you just need a mindset shift or you need to remove that block. Well, tell me how the heck I'm supposed to remove the block. Like, what?
Mhm.
So I will say that it has been one of the hardest and most emotional processes I have been through. I have cried. I have felt um, like what have I been doing all this time? Why have I been doing it? But then at the same time, the shift comes to like, well, thank God that I can now see that. Thank God, like, all these things have come to light. So it's been a great process, but of course, with growth comes pain. And I know that in fitness too. Like if you want to be toned, if you want to see the cut, if you want to lose the weight, like you have to make the sacrifices, you have to make the mindset shift, you have to be able to grow through the pain. And
Mhm.
so for me, it's just been a great emotional release of baggage. And
Mhm.
even though it's been hard at times emotionally, it's like, wow, like I'm going through this and now I get to release it where I'd have been stuck in my cycle beforehand. So
Yeah. And so what's really interesting is, I always tell people I started my master's for clinical psychology. I was on my way to being a therapist when I said, I don't want to do therapy. I don't want to do therapy because I had to go sit with a PhD with a psychologist for a while in my undergrad it was kind of like an internship, right? And I just saw people come to therapy week after week and just be stuck in their cycles. And I particularly recall this one lady, and after she left that particular session, I asked the psychologist, Dr. So and so, how long has that lady been coming here? And it was like 8 or 9 years. And I was like, why? I haven't even finished this career education. And I know that she's the problem. I know that she's stuck in all this blaming and victim and da 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 da. And he was like, well, we can't, like the ethics board, will prevent us from you. Basically, you got to let your client have their own breakthrough. And I remember saying, that's not for me. Because I have a calling in my life. It's to release people from their prison house. It's to set people free. It is not to let them have their own breakthrough. It's to slap you upside your head with your breakthrough. Like, here's your breakthrough. Wake up. And so I remember saying, I want people to come to me that say, Linda, I don't know what I'm doing or what I'm not doing, but I'm ready to stop. Coach me. And literally, people say that to me to this day. So I know that you said it so eloquently. You were like, yeah, da, da, da. But I know that there were times you'd be like sending me this long explanation. And then at the end, you would say, and I don't know where that comes from. And I would be like, Hello, let me tell you exactly where that comes from. That comes from the fuckery of your childhood. That comes from that comes from, what do you mean you don't know? And then conversations, because I only coach women because I'm a woman and I coach the whole woman. So there would be conversations where you'd be talking about your kids and I'd be like, let me tell you why this is happening with you and your daughter and where you need to step into this. And let me tell you how I did it when I was going through it with my daughter. And you were like, oh my God. Like the time that you were like, I'm not a gym mom.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, oh, I remember the time that I said I'm not a dance mom, but then I had to own the identity of a dance mom. And I became the best dance mom that a dance child could ever have. Like I am a dance mom to this day. How could you not tell? You know what I mean? How could you not tell I'm a dance mom? Right. And so just motherhood and all the things that make up a woman, it's not just making money. But understanding, you would tell me things about your clients, and I'm like, why are you acting like your clients are your friends? And oh, and then, well, here's where that came from. And here's where your abandonment wound is at. And it's not that I'm a therapist, because I am not. This is why I did not finish my master's degree in clinical psychology, but I understand human behavior like something out of this world. And like you said, while other people talk about mindsets and blocks, I can pinpoint and break down the blueprint specifically so that you can make those connections. Because when your brain makes the connection, and I didn't know I always coach in these interviews, Cassandra. When your brain makes the connection, you rewire that pathway. That's what true rewiring is. When you can, when the neurons are firing and what they weren't connecting before, they were just like falling through the loop. But now these things are connecting in your brain, and you literally form a new neural pathway, a new way of understanding, a new way of thinking. You can't go back to that old thing. It literally changes your identity.
It does.
And that's the biggest thing that I've seen in our work. So I know that sometimes you would cry. And even as of recently, because one of the patterns that I saw with you was like wanting to be in a cycle of whatever. As soon as you uncovered all these things, then you were stuck in a cycle of uncovering more things and uncovering more things and uncovering more things. And then I was like, oh, wait one damn minute. That's not what we're going to do. So even as of recently, I caught you in a pattern and I removed myself from it. And I called it for what it was. And then you over explained it like it's one of your favorite things to do. And how did that feel when I was on board with it and then I pulled back and I was like, you know what? I'm not doing this with you, basically.
Honestly, it hurt.
I'm sorry. Look, I'm laughing while I'm saying I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
So honestly, it hurt. I had like I think the timing in which you had pulled yourself back to was
There were a lot of things going on.
there was a lot of things. So that was like the last thing for me on my plate that I was like, I just can't. So I was like just sitting there bawling, and it wasn't just you being the cause of my bawling. I was bawling for a lot of different things. And then the next day rolled around. I'm like, okay, let's go. like, like if there's one thing that I've learned with the way in which it's definitely shown me like I can just move on. Like here's the cycle, here's what it is, move on from it. Where beforehand, I feel like I would have just been like all in it.
Spiraling in it,
Yes.
and spiraling in it. Yep. Yep. And I mean, I'm like, that's not attractive, Cassandra. That's not even attractive to me. And I'm a woman. Like, cut it out. Like, now, talking about attractive, I'm going to just segue right into you and Trey, because your husband has made more money in a faster amount of time. Like, compressing time is something that happens when people evolve their identity. When you started working with me, he was also working with a coach for himself. And then I had a call where the both of you came. I think I've had 2 of those calls with you, right? Or maybe 3. I
Mhm.
don't.
Maybe 3, I
Yeah, maybe
think.
3. And I'm like, he can't be part of the Power Table Facebook group because we go live in there in our bras and it's a safe place for women. Um, but he definitely has evolved his own identity through your own evolution and the notes that you take. And then I've even said, come to the call. I mean, he's your husband. What am I going to do? He could sit over there and he cannot be on camera. He's listening to what I'm saying. So I'm not going to be like, well, your husband needs to pay extra amount of money if he wants to get coached by me. What? How has that, like watching your husband evolve and expand in that way? First of all, before you answer the question, when I saw him on camera after saying all that stuff that he don't like doing live streams, I'm like, he is a natural. What are you talking about? So you tell me, like watching your husband compress time and like become this other iteration of the, you've been married to him. I just met you guys. I don't know him.
Yeah, so no, it's been what I would say super hot, sexy, and
Whoa.
I know, and like admirable because it, for the longest, I'm like, babe, you are so good at speaking. You're so good on camera. But
He really is.
it's like one of those things where the people closest to you, they're just like, yeah, 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 you know. But watching him finally like step into it and telling me like, hey, we're going live now. I'm like, okay, I'll drop whatever I'm doing. If you're talking, let's go. And it's just been one of those things where over the years, because when we were dating, I was like, oh, this guy's going to be a speaker one day. Like, I remember exactly where I was sitting when I was like, this guy's going to be a speaker. Like, he is awesome. And now we've been married 15 years this summer. So we're talking about 17 and a half years later, I'm seeing him actually come to that person that I had in my brain that God was like, boom. So I'm like, oh my gosh, just seeing this unravel is, it's nothing but amazing to me, like in all honesty. And then or whenever we have time, we go over the notes and I tell him and I'm like, and look, and this person's doing this and this person made this much. And he's like seeing this for himself and he's hearing the voice memos that you leave. And like he went live one time and he's like, my coach Linda, like, like it's been, I feel like we're finally getting to a place where we're both leveling up so fast together that
Fast.
that it's just like, who are you? Like we just relearning each other. So I'm absolutely loving seeing his growth.
I love that so much. And of course, I'm his coach.
I
I
know.
love it. And I'm just going to say this like, even right, whenever you message me and ask me something that it's like your business, I'd be like, I need you to trust your gut. If that's what you want to sell, sell that. I'm not going to name your program. Well, what do you think we should? I'm like, I think you're overthinking. Just do that. Right. So I think that, and this is back to the a question that we already touched on, like what you thought coaching was, that it's not. Like I want you to trust your voice, which you're like, this is one of the biggest things I'm learning is to like really trust, trust myself. And just the leveling up the identity, period, end of story. I remember when we started working together, I was like, Cass, you're almost 40. Like you're 37 years old. Why do you giggle so much like a 17-year-old? Like you giggle in a nervousness because you're holding yourself back. Like unleash that. Level up. Speak what you mean and mean what you say and speak with certainty and have boundaries and tell people no. Like the lady who had the bicycle at your gym and it was 2 years and I'm like, put that bicycle out on the sidewalk and tell her to pick it up today. How did that work out actually?
It actually worked out well. Normally, I would have been very like soft spoken and been like, "Oh, okay, well, pick it up on your timeline." But and I would have felt extremely wounded because I'm like, okay, this is a person that, you know, I absolutely admired. I loved the fact that, you know, from where they started to where they've gone, like seeing their journey was just beautiful for me. And then to see how quick, fast, and in a hurry things can flip, I didn't take it as personal. And I didn't take it, I allowed myself like, you know, an hour to kind of wallow in it and be like, what is this? Like, why is this? And then I realized, oh, okay, here's a cycle that's been happening. And it's because I come off too nice, or I don't say or explain the things that I want from either my staff or my clients or whoever it is that I'm working for, because I was always such a big people pleaser. And so that was a result of my people pleasing. I haven't seen this person in over a year and a half. They never messaged me like I was being nice and, you know, putting my best foot forward. And then that's what they ended up just being like, oh, well, since you're being nice, I want my stuff. I was like, oh, okay. Well, since you don't, I didn't know this was going to be a thing. So just feeling empowered to finally say something made me feel so good. And it made me feel good because it made me feel like I had a voice too, that I didn't have to be walked all over. And it made me feel like, okay, if you want to make something uncomfortable for me, then here's a little bit of uncomfortable for you. God gave me and watered down, like, here I am. And so I actually felt really good coming out of that. And I'm not hurt by it. I'm not gonna wallow in it. And you know, it is what it is. And I just know that now this is life. Like there are just things that are gonna happen. So
I love you. I love you so much because that is your experience. You just talked about your experience. And I'm going to just take a 2 minutes to coach on something that you said. You were like, well, if it's uncomfortable for me, here's a little discomfort for you. But actually, I know that's how it felt to you, but that's not why we are empowered, right? She decided that she was going to throw a monkey wrench in your life. And your monkey wrench does not stop any rodeo over here. Your emergency does not affect me, right? Because what's one of my favorite phrases? We cannot manage other people, we can only manage ourselves. So I don't do stress because you decided to induce it onto me. I used to. Trust me, women are we are experts at, someone started a fire and now we have to go put it out.
mhm.
So if you start a fire, you put it out, right?
Yes,
And so I was like, well, it's her bike. It's at your gym. Now she's saying she wants it back. Now it's a big liability. Hey, as a business owner, I don't need that liability. So come pick it up today. Oh no, I have to come pick it up Thursday. Actually, it's out of here today because it's not ours and I don't want that liability. So it's at the end of the driveway. Come pick it up or the trash is going to take it. Right? Because that she created an emergency. So I respond to like, your emergency is not mine. Actually, I want to get rid of that because you want it so desperately. You needed this, right? So it's not about, you're going to make a little bit uncomfortable for me. I'm going to make a little bit uncomfortable for you. It's not,
which
it's
is
not,
true.
it's
Yes,
not that at all. It's, oh, seems like you have urgency. Let me facilitate this. Please come get it today.
yes. And that was
Right?
my first time like ever. So I guess that's why though I would use those words, because it was my first time ever being like, oh, okay, like, you know, their urgency. Usually I make everybody's urgency my urgency. And like you said, I'll put out everybody's fire. But yeah, it was her fire. Here, burn it out. If it was, I mean, put it out.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
um, but
So
yeah, so
I love that. I love that. Thank you for allowing me to coach on this. Now, you've got some couples that have jumped at your group program and have
yeah,
said yes. And I was like, I love this. You guys have such amazing branding photos, you and your husband. And they're not vulgar at all. There's zero vulgarity to it, but there's so much in those pictures. They're not poses, Cassandra. you and Trey are not posing. Trey literally, you can sense his desire for you. Like you can sense how much he wants you. Like, turn this camera off right now. Like but there's nothing sexual about it. You just have to go look at her Instagram and see how much Trey loves this woman. And they just love each other. And I told you, you got to post those pictures because those pictures are the identity. Those pictures are the embodiment of what couples want. And you guys have been married 15 years?
Yes.
Right. And I'm like, people go through that 7-year itch. They don't make it, like, how do they rekindle? Like, you need to lead with this. And then your husband has been on is it American Ninja Warrior? Is that
Yeah.
the name of the show?
American Ninja Warrior.
How many times has he been on that show?
8 to 10 times, 8 seasons, 10 shows.
So if you have not seen Cassandra's man, you're going to get off this live stream and you're going to go look at him, because he literally, when I saw him, I literally said, this guy is a weapon. His body is a weapon. The mobility and agility and the things that this man does on the bars, and like, it's crazy. His core strength, literally, I wasn't just being funny when I said this man's body is a weapon. And then I was like, I went to their home and I was like, oh man, you guys could do couples things in here and you could like weaponize your marriage. And then like, boom, that just came and it just landed so perfectly for what you and Trey do. Like, it, some people say I channeled that, or like God gave me a download. I don't know what y'all want to call it, but it was just like, boom, weaponize your marriage. And because people protect their car, they buy insurance for all sorts of things, life. But do you protect your marriage? Like, is it a fair proof? Is it safe to communicate? And so how did you feel? Because I was like, you guys need to do this. And then you were like playing around with it. But then when you started showing those stories with those branded photos and people started to inquire, how was that for you?
That was, so that excited me, because it's always been something that I've wanted to do, but I've always kind of tiptoed on, because I'm like, oh, well, I don't want to put something more on him to have, to try to want to do. And I don't know if I'm there yet to just be like, hey guys, like, this is what we've been through. But I remember you specifically sending me a text one time and you're like, you have to share this. And I'm like, share my clients' response? And you're like, no, share your story about your husband and what you guys have been through. I'm like, oh, okay. And then I remember specifically sitting down with him that night and he's like, let's do it. Let's just go and let's just do it. And it's actually amazing to see the amount of people that they might not like the post. They might not comment, but they sure will inbox and be like, thank you for posting that. I didn't know you have gone through that. That's what I'm currently going through, or what I've been through. And it's very relatable. A lot of people don't realize that, yeah, you might have everything that looks successful, but at the end of the day, you're not feeling successful in your home. And like you said, there's no insurance for that. There's no, like, that's pure working together.
That's the work.
Yes, that is the work. And so we've been, sitting down with couples and we are like, why have we not done this sooner? Because we have been through so much, because the divorce rate for people in business together is 90%. And so we had that 7-year where it was just extremely hard. And we were like, okay, this is not going to work. But, we got the help we needed. We learned more about each other, personality types, all the different skills we needed to be in business together and just to be in a marriage together. And so now that we're sitting down with couples, it's amazing to like hear and witness what they're going through, because we're like, oh, this is you guys, this is, here's some quick tools to help with that. And we're like, that's not that that's it, but like to know where we've been through, like I wouldn't wish anything that we've gone through on anybody else, but knowing like, okay, you guys don't have the business aspect, but you have the success and you're, you have the finances, but you just need the tweaking for the communication. Like it's beautiful to see them just like flourishing and sending me the text messages about the long kisses and the showers and just all the things getting all spicy and hot.
I love that. I love that so much. Also, because the people that are hiring you are like engineers.
Yes.
Like, how did that feel when you were like, these people, right? Because every single person who enters into the coaching or personal development space, at one point, usually at the beginning, they're like, I can't coach people that, because we don't coach people based on, I have more education than you or you make more money than me. We coach on this identity and result that they want as a result of the identity. How did that feel when you were like, oh my God, these people are this type of career, they make this kind of money, they're hiring us?
Yeah. At first, it was a little bit like, oh, you have, the nurse practitioners, the engineers, the, principal. It's like, oh, okay. Like, like I'm just like, I'm just a gym owner. But no, I'm not. I'm not just a gym owner. I know what it takes to be a high performer, to be successful, to be all of these things, and to learn the communication within the marriage. So once I reframed that, they're not coming to me for more, success at work or, how to show up in the workplace or level up. They're coming to me to level up in their marriage. They're coming to me because they want more spice. They're coming because things need to feel successful at home. And so once I made that mind shift, I'm like, let's go. Like, it's going to be all good.
I love that so much. It's the reason why I work with men very like selectively. I just really enjoy when the husband is part of the, he gets better because of the coaching that the wife is doing with me. I love that. But even for men, it's always like, I don't need to coach you about what you're doing in your amazing C-level position. I don't. I need to coach you on the shit in your head, on the guilt that your kids are running on you, on the this, on the that, on the mindset, on the habits, on the, you're still beating yourself up, like all of this. It doesn't matter, man or woman. It's always who we are being or not being that's in our way. So, Cassandra, is there anything else that you want to share with people that we haven't covered on this conversation that you think is like, it's so spectacular or whatever, or not spectacular, but it was life-changing?
Yeah, sure. I would like to, maybe I covered it a little bit, but maybe I just want to rebrush back on how amazing it has been to actually work with you, with a coach that dives deep into the emotions, dives deep into the mindset, dives deep into the person. I feel like that has helped shift me. And like you said, that one lady was going to therapy for 8 years. I don't have 8 years. I don't have 8 years for a breakthrough. I don't have 8 years to try getting to another level. Like, I need the now. And I feel like working with you has helped shed off so many years. Like, I feel like there's been years I've been wasting. And I know they're not a waste, but I'm just so happy that now I'm not going to be wasting them going forward. It wasn't until I was coaching with you too, where you're like, girl, you're almost 40 years old. Are you serious? And I'm like, whoa. You're absolutely right. So now that's even in me. I'm like, Cass, you're almost 40 years old. Make the decision. What do you want? Is that acceptable? So I just wanted to say, thank you so much for seeing the things and being able to point out the things and allowing us to grow at our own paces, because it has been awesome.
Aw, you are welcome so much. I'm so glad. I did normally I cry during these things. I haven't cried yet, so
I
don't
made you
chop,
smile a lot.
don't chop onions. Thank you so much. I love this work so much. And thank you for being receptive, and thank you for just wanting to grow. I can't stretch a rubber band, if don't want to be stretched. So you are definitely here for it. And it's amazing to have a front row seat to your evolution. And Trey, I love Trey. I love you guys. Um, where can people find you on social media if they want to get their body right or get their marriage right?
So So they can find me on Instagram at Cass_Dort. That's DORTCH. If they're wanting to do marriage, it would be at beastbody.org/back to us. And that's where we weaponize our marriage. So, yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Cass. Thank you, everyone, for catching this live stream. Wherever you're watching this, whether it's on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn, leave your comments below. I will reply. I reply to all the comments. It's me, not my assistant or a bot. It is I. And if it's Cassandra that you want to speak to, comment under the wherever you catch this live stream as well, or go follow her. And until another time, have a good